All right. So thank you again, Mr. Kawasaki, for being part of our conference, and thank you for your flexibility, time flexibility. I'm sorry for everything that happened, and I'm gonna drop the mic and pass it to you because your keynote speech is something that all of us were waiting for, and we are curious about what do you want. What do you want to tell us?
Okay.
Thank you. It's all yours.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Guy Kawasaki. I'm sitting in my house in Santa Cruz, California. And as you can see, the state of the art of avatars is much, much improved. Like it's almost like I'm real on video, huh? So yeah, we had a little bit of a, shall I say, mishap this morning, but you know, if there's one thing I learned about technology is you got to roll with the punches. And so that was quite a punch, actually. So my topic is the art of perseverance, how to survive and thrive in a pandemic. And I'd like to give you my tips for surviving this pandemic and perhaps even thriving in this pandemic. I don't think that anybody has gone through anything like this. You'd have to be alive in 1918. So if you were born before 1918 and you're starting a company now, I salute you. That is, oh my God. Well, you're just a badass kind of person. So let me give you my top 10 tips. So tip number one is to be sure to run the right race. Understand that this pandemic is going to go on for weeks, months, maybe even years. I don't think people's self-confidence and confidence in going out and acting like before is going to happen until there's a vaccine. And contrary to what the President of the United States might say, not clear to me there's going to be a vaccine in January, okay? So run the right race. In other words, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You're going to have to run a very long time. And in fact, maybe an even better metaphor than marathon is decathlon, because you're going to have to be good at many things. So I know a lot of entrepreneurs and they all think, oh, I just need to focus on fundraising, or I need to focus on sales, or I need to focus on recruiting, or I need to focus on making the product. Well, I hate to tell you, but entrepreneurship is a decathlon. You have to recruit, make the product, raise money, get sales, and support things all at once. So run the right race. It's a marathon or a decathlon. Number two is focus on cash. Cash is king, cash is queen, cash is prince, cash is princess, cash is emperor, cash is empress, cash is king. And now is the time, if you have the ability, to turn any inventory you have into cash. Because at the end of the day, you're either dead or you're alive at the end of this pandemic. And it's not about preserving your lofty brand positioning and how you never discount and how you never have sales and all that because you're a prestige product. The choices are dead or alive, not alive and preserve your highfalutin, high line positioning, okay? So convert your inventory to cash. Number three is cut your expenses deeper than you think you should. Exposure, getting more support and sales into the field. The problem is right now, if in my case in the United States, if Amazon decides that your product isn't crucial or essential, then you get second tier treatment. And so you'd be basically at the whims of some Amazon algorithm going through millions of products deciding, yeah, well, we should sell those products, we should make those eligible for Amazon Prime, and we shouldn't make those. And I think now is the time to go direct with your customer. This goes back to cash is king, because if you go direct, you offer Memorial Day sales, you do whatever is necessary. Number five, speaking of customers, is if there ever was a time to tap your customer base, this is it. Because going direct, you are reaching those people who I hope you have their email addresses so you can do business direct. Because I would make the case that the easiest customer to sell to right now is someone that you have sold to before. Number six is don't depend on white knights and silver bullets and magical politicians who are going to cure the pandemic. That ain't going to happen. So understand that, a business strategy is never and then the miracle will occur, because miracles do not occur. You cannot depend on the miracle. You have to do what you have to do. If you get in the United States a small business loan, if you get some kind of help from the government, hallelujah, take the money. But don't depend on that happening. That's the miracle happening. Number 7, be transparent with your employees. Now is a great time that you can tell your employees how bad things are, because it's bad for everybody. It's not like they're going to go home or talk to their buddies and their buddies are going to say, oh no, things are great where we work. Free food, free foosball, free sand volleyball. You know, we have buses taking us with Wi-Fi. We have offsites in great Ritz-Carlton hotels. Nobody's doing that. So now you can be transparent. Tell your employees how bad things they are. At least you'll see who believes and who doesn't believe. Number 8, now is the time, if you're going to ask a lot of employees to go on furlough, possibly work for a lot less money, now is the time you have to give something to get something. So you want to get something. You want to get loyalty. You want to get work. You want to get productivity. You have to give something. And the thing to give now is, honestly, stock, because stock doesn't affect your cash position. Now is the time to be generous with stock. Number 9, evaluate your supply chain. Listen, it used to make sense to find the cheapest price. You know, make stuff 3,000 miles away. It'll get shipped to you from China, no problem. Well, now, with a trade war, with a pandemic, with people shutting down things, you know, you cannot be in a position where you're trying to get the cheapest possible price, but it's 6,000 miles away. So it may be that you have to use local manufacturers, local partners, local vendors. And I would make the case that it's better to use someone local and pay more than use someone 6,000 miles away who could be the subject of a trade war just because someone in the State Department wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. So, you know, evaluate your supply chain. Also, evaluating your supply chain probably means reducing the number of SKUs you have, because, you know, do you need all those SKUs? Do you need every color, every size, every option? I mean, I can tell you from personal behavior of my own, you know, before in the United States, you used to go to Safeway and there were like 50 kinds of toilet paper, 100 kinds of cereal, 100 kinds of apples, 100 kinds of oranges. And, you know, there were 10 kinds of kimchi. It was like so much selection. I'll tell you right now, I have not been inside a market for 3 months, okay? All our grocery shopping is done with Instacart. And guess what? If Instacart says, we only have creamy peanut butter, I order creamy peanut butter. I don't like creamy peanut butter. I like chunky peanut butter. If Instacart says, well, we only have Fuji apples, we don't have this other kind of apple, I order the Fuji apple. If they say we only have shredded cheddar cheese, but I like sliced cheddar cheese, I order the shredded cheddar cheese. In other words, you can evaluate your supply chain and simplify things. People's expectations are lower. They don't expect all that great variety. Number 10 is do all the crap that you never had time to do before. Write documentation, implement new systems, digitize stuff that wasn't digitized, clean up your database, you know, learn how to do Zoom, video conferences, do all that kind of stuff, because let's face it, everybody has gained a few hours back because we're not commuting. We're not only not commuting, we're not going out for 1 hour long restaurants, lunches. We're not going out for 1 hour long breakfasts. We're not going out for 2 hour long dinners. We're not meeting for drinks. We're all at home. So you got all this time back. Do the shit work that you never wanted to do before. And number 11, and maybe the most important, ask the question, therefore what? And by this, I mean, you know, look at what's happening. Look at online education. Look at all the virtual meetings. Look at people depending on virtual meetings instead of in-place meetings. Look at people depending on email and Slack. And look at all that stuff. Look at the fact that, you know, nobody wants to go to a hospital anymore. Nobody wants to go shopping anymore. All this kind of stuff. And ask yourself, well, with all these factors happening, with all these changes happening, therefore, what product or what service should I create? And that's how you are going to thrive, because you have a vision, you have an insight into how the future will evolve, and you're going to say, yep, I mean, It's going to be a long time, for example, before people go to conferences in Las Vegas, 10,000 people in a ballroom, right? So therefore what? How do you change your conference business? How do you add a kind of, new way of reaching out to your customer? Keep asking yourself, seeing what I see, therefore what? And I think if you do all those 11 things, you'll stand as good a chance of surviving and thriving this pandemic. And I gotta ask you one more thing you can do. I have a podcast called Remarkable People where I interview remarkable people like Jane Goodall, Margaret Atwood, Stephen Wolfram, Steve Wozniak, Bob Cialdini, Martha Stewart. I mean, I got absolutely fantastic guests. I have the best guest list in all of podcasting.
Mrs. Wojcicki.
I'm sorry?
Mrs. Wojcicki as well.
Yes, Esther Wojcicki.
Wojcicki, I'm sorry, Wojcicki.
Esther Wojcicki, she has 3 daughters, but 2 of the daughters you really may have heard of. The other one is a very successful doctor. But the 2 you may have heard of is the CEO of 23andMe and the CEO of YouTube. So I have her as a guest too. So one thing you could do for me, and I think will help you become remarkable and get through this pandemic, is to subscribe to my podcast at remarkablepeople.com. So that's what I know about surviving and thriving in a pandemic. And that's it. I'm sorry I couldn't do this with an avatar on a stage, but hey, information is information.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Information is information. I got 2 questions. First, you already answered. It was about remarkable people. I really admire your podcast. You got one of the best, if not the best, list of guests. And my question is, how do you manage it to get so successful and so great people to your podcast?
Well, I thought that was going to be a hard thing to do, but I've been speaking and writing and helping people and evangelizing Macintosh for about 30 or 40 years. So in those 30 or 40 years, I've met a lot of people. I've done a lot of people a lot of favors, and a lot of people have done me favors too, don't get me wrong. So over the span of 30 or 40 years, you establish relationships, and you establish, one thing I could tell you is it's not who you know, okay? It's who knows you. So Jane Goodall and her people, I didn't know them, but they knew who I was. So the key is it's not who you know, but who knows you. And so my first guest was Jane Goodall. And let's just say if your first guest is Jane Goodall, and your second guest is Margaret Atwood, and your third guest is Martha Stewart, it gets easier because, you just call up people and you say, well, the kind of guests you'll be with are Jane Goodall, Martha Stewart, and Margaret Atwood, and Steve Wozniak. Not a lot of people are going to say, ha, that's a mediocre. I'm too good for your podcast. I mean, you'd have to be a real freaking sicko egomaniac if you thought that. So it got easier.
Yeah. Last question. Is there any speaker or any guest you would like to invite, but you didn't have, or you haven't had the chance yet?
Well, first of all, are you getting video from me? Because
not right now.
I wonder why.
Yeah, the technology, it's not the best day for
it happened at the very end. Wait, let me just check something.
Yeah.
No, it's not my camera. Wait a sec. Oh, I don't know why. Okay, I don't know why my video turned off. Okay, now
it's on. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, it's on.
I didn't touch anything. The video muted.
As I said, not the best day for technology.
Go ahead. Ask the question again.
Yeah. Second question was, is there any guest?
Before you ask that, what country are you in? Czech Republic?
Yeah, definitely. Czech Republic, Prague. Have you been here?
I think so. I can't remember.
All right. When the pandemic is over and when there is vaccine and when you are willing to travel again, you're more than welcome here.
Thank you.
So the question.
Ask the question.
Yeah. who is or is there any guest you would like to have on your podcast, but you haven't had the chance or haven't had the luck yet? Who would you like to invite? Who is I don't want to say the best speaker for your podcast, but
so somebody said to me, if God said to me, Guy, I'm going to give you one magic bullet. You can invite anybody in the world.
Yeah.
And that person will accept.
Exactly. Yeah. Who is going to be?
I would say Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama. Yeah. And I know why.
Not Michelle Obama, then Dominic Hasek.
Dominic Hasek. Oh, I cannot help you with Mrs. Obama, but I think I can help you with Mr. Hasek. If you
maybe I'll take you up on that.
Wonderful. I'm really happy that you know Mr. Hasek. It's national hero over here.
Well, I mean, Dominic, the Dominator, yeah.
The Dominator, yeah. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Tell him if I don't get him, I'm gonna settle for Wayne Gretzky.
All right. I'm gonna tell him.
All righty.
That's all. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience, and thank you.
I mean, is the video looking good?
I just want to say the video is great and the fireplace is on, and that's the most important.
Okay, take care.
Take care, and thank you again, Mr. Kawasaki.
Bye.
Bye-bye.